Welcome to StickTalk, where we speak to hospitality professionals on what they like, what they do, and what they drink. I'm Kapri Mike.
I'm Holiday.
And I'm Janine Copeland.
Yeah. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, absolutely. And you brought us 2 wines today.
Yes.
Okay, which one are we pouring up first?
All right, so first we're going to start with this white from the Finger Lakes region of New York. New York wine.
You said Finger Lake?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like where in New York are we speaking?
So like literally near the Finger Lakes, like that connect to northern New York, near like the cold parts.
Okay.
Like where Michigan and all of that stuff goes. So like those same Finger Lakes there.
Awesome.
It's like a really cool winemaking region because of the temperature there. It's nice and cool, which gives you lots of acid.
Okay.
And
right. When it's colder out, grapes don't get as much sun, which means they're not getting as juicier, right?
Exactly.
Which is like a lot of flavors are not.
Exactly.
Okay.
So sugar develops with the sun. It helps with the fermentation process, and warm climate wines are just going to be a little bit more fruity or going to give you the feeling of sweetness.
Yeah.
Not always mean it's a sweet wine, but yes, exactly. You got it.
Yeah, a little wine knowledge.
I've got to pour myself some.
Please pour yourself some. Sunday fun day, StickTalk Sundays.
Okay.
So how did you get started in the industry in general?
So, like most people, I didn't find the industry kind of found me.
Okay.
I had just finished school, or I was like taking a break from school as up the street at Howard, and
you know.
Ew, that's so bad. But pretty much it was like, all right, I need to make some money, and serving was the best way I knew how. So I worked a few places, and then I got a job at Matchbox, and at that time it was one of the fancier restaurants in the city, or fanciest restaurants in the city. So that's
which one? Which Matchbox?
Chinatown.
Okay.
So that's like where I got my first step into wine, or like even understanding wine, or like having access to it. We used to do like wine classes every Tuesday with one of the managers, and that was like my first step. But
shout out to Matchbox and education.
Yeah, definitely.
Howard University Financial Aid Office for creating so many amazing.
Creating the need for me to go and find some money.
These things are true.
Yeah, so that's how it started, needing some money and just like being like, how can I make some money?
Right.
And then I got a job as a cheesemonger at Union Market.
Okay.
What's a cheesemonger?
It's literally a salesperson of cheese. So I used to like, I used to cut cheese. I used to feel like a little kid when I say that, like, I cut the cheese. But I used to work the shop, I would work the counter, and then also we would do these like tastings. We had a tasting bar, and it would be like preparing wine and cheese and cider and cheese, and I was making the cheese boards and doing all of that. So it was really, really random, but it really piqued my interest in food and understanding that this is a really cool product, and there's so much now, and also that there's so many different types of restaurants. Like, that changed the game.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I was piqued, and then I got the opportunity to go and help open Rose's Luxury.
Nice.
And when we opened that, that's really when I started getting into wine. Like,
awesome.
We did an intense training at the very beginning, and then just being on the floor, everybody was their own somm. So it was like you're empowered to pour your own wines, and just going through that process. And that was it.
Made you love it?
Made me love wine.
Yes.
Made me want to like really take it seriously and realize that I wasn't just working in the industry to make money anymore. It was like, oh, I can do this for like life.
I'm loving it, right?
So I took my CMS level 1. And then shortly after...
What's CMS level 1? Sorry.
So the CMS is the Court of Master Sommeliers. It's a certifying body along with WSET, Certified Specialist Wine. There's a few different ways that you can go to get trained and tested to say that you're a wine person. So I started with the court. We call it the court. We call it CMS. A little lingo for you.
It's a lingo.
So I started there and then quickly was like, this is cool. But I met the owner of the bar I managed for 2 years, Stacy, and that's when I learned, like, oh, I got certified, but I took this test and I passed, but I really don't know jack shit about wine. So, or like how the true process of how it's made.
Yes.
So I feel like in the past 2 years, it's definitely just like solidified that like this is really cool, and I want people to know this information. So that's where like I started doing classes and like kind of, we were down on H Street, so it was like I get to teach people that look like me about this thing that I hold so dear. So that's kind of how it started and how I got here.
Cheers! Cheers to that. Cheers to sharing education. Cheers to teaching. And this is very delicious.
Very tasty,
Yeah, thank you. Shout out to Rebecca at Domestique for helping me pick this one out.
Domestique.
I really wanted to pick a wine from a domestic one, at least one domestic wine. So we got this one from the Finger Lakes, and from like a region that people are not really expecting. There's literally wine made in every single state of the United States.
I did not know,
and I was like, what?
Like even like Hawaii. Alaska.
I'm pretty sure they have a winery. Like that's a statistic I know.
We spoke on teaching with people that look like you, right? So as a woman, a black woman, right? What were the hurdles, and how did you like really get your footing in the industry and like continue to persevere?
Honestly, it's been me taking chances on myself, but also having people who were willing to take a chance on me. You know, when I got my job at Rose's, it was kind of like, oh, you're green, you've only worked in this pizza place, like very fancy chefs from all over the country, and it was just them being like, we believe that you can, you know, take on this knowledge and be part of this really big deal of a restaurant. So from there. And then with Stacey being like, you can manage, and like there's not a ton of opportunity, I feel, to level up in the hospitality world. It's like you can be the best server at your job, but they're gonna keep you as a server. Like you can be the best bartender, but like you're not gonna manage. And like now, even having managed, I'm like, it's really hard to get paid what you're worth at that point to do all of the work. So it's really like, it's almost pigeonholes you back down into like, well, I'm just going to go back and serve again because I can't make money doing this other thing, which is, so that's been a hurdle, just like being able to really make a living just by teaching about wine. And like being black and being a woman, I feel like I'm at this intersection of people just like, not thinking that I am the person of a position of power. Like when I was the GM of the bar, it was like a lot of people would come in and be like, can I talk to the manager? I'm like, I am the manager.
In the highest one.
Like I am teaching you this class, I guess. It's me.
Yes.
It's me. Surprise. Exactly. So just like getting over that kind of disbelief has always been a thing. Other than that, I mean, DC is a cool city because, you know, we are the chocolate city. For as long as we can hold on to it.
And we're holding. We're holding.
Holding tight. But, like, I feel like that also has helped because I was never, or for a while, I haven't been, like, the only one. Like, there's always been, you know, another one or two of us. So it's like, you're not feeling so alone where I know, like, smaller markets.
Yes.
I feel like that.
So into those classes that you were doing, what were ways or certain things that you taught people to make them feel more comfortable ordering for themselves in certain spaces?
So I think it's really important for everybody to understand that we're just drinking. It's just juice. Like, and I try and start everyone off like at the beginning of class, like, hey, just take a sip. We're not gonna swirl. We're not gonna smell. Like, at the end of the day, this is a product created for you to enjoy, and it's a very casual product in a lot of places. We put so much on it, and it's literally just juice, and I love it, and it's intricate and it's special, but it's grape juice that's gone a little bit bad, and we said it was good. So I try and just talk about it like I would talk about anything else, and I think if I'm relaxed about it, that keeps my my clients or students engaged in a way that's comfortable. I also feel like we have all of these notions of like, oh, sweet wine is bad, and I need to talk about it like I did and saw in that movie Somm and all of that. And it's like, tasting and what you taste and the things that you register on your palate are so personal that you can't be wrong. Like, I don't know if you smell this and you're like, this smells like when I woke up on a summer day and the flowers were breezing through my window. I don't know, I wasn't there. It's a very personal experience, and I think it's just being able to articulate and bring yourself to a place. And that's like the beauty of wine tasting.
I guess, so like, it's like from that memory, it'd be like, okay, great, what flowers were there?
Exactly, you know? And if you can start to identify that stuff, then I feel like we did great. Or like, hey, this tastes like somebody's lemonade. Like, oh, whose lemonade was it? Did they use sugar?
Yeah.
You know, like,
what kind of sugar? Yeah.
It doesn't have to be so high stakes. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be complicated. We are just drinking and talking about it. And I think the more we get comfortable just like knowing what we like and knowing ourselves and like being able to have that thought connection, then the better wine tasters will be. It doesn't have to be like.
Definitely.
So how do I get my wife, right, to go from, I'm not going to say the brand, but from Red Moscato to something that we both can, you know, enjoy. Right now I'm buying a bottle of Red Moscato, and then I'm buying what I like.
Yeah, that gets pricey.
I would like to just buy one bottle. You know what I mean? What can we meet in the middle?
I say, okay, really, I think start with, y'all like sangria?
Oh yeah, of course.
So one of the things I like to do, and I feel like is a good trick, is I will use like whatever, I mean, don't do it with your really expensive stuff, but alternatives, throw some fruit in it, throw a sweetener, like get people, meet people where they are. Right. And then, at least for me, because I was a Moscato, like, and there's nothing wrong with big Moscato, but I used to drink those big liter bottles of it, and that was not cute.
Drink a liter every couple hours.
You know what I mean? Like, so I know exactly what you're saying, and I think the bigger issue with that stuff is that it's full of artificial like terrible sugar, refined sugar, and that's like the part where it's like, if you want it to be sweet, let it just. But I understand, you know, you're gonna drink what you're gonna drink, but I think meet people where they are. Try it in a sangria. That's always been like something super accessible for me. And then also work your way up. So like if you like juicy reds, like I know Zinfandel is like a stepping stone red wine. Like I want a big fruity red, and then you know I may go from Zinfandel, this really jammy Zinfandel, to something like the second. Oh, we can drink the second one.
Oh, I'm ready. I was like, segue, red wine. Here we go.
Wine shots. So
and we are using the same glass.
It really doesn't matter unless you're in like a, what is it called when you're not professional, because we're professionals, but unless you're like evaluating the wine and you really want it to be like clean, and as long as you're working your way up,
we're just drinking
people
juice.
Drink out of the same glass. So that's what we're gonna do today.
Yay!
Save some water or whatever.
And what red wine did you bring for us today?
So this is a Carignan Syrah blend from Languedoc, which is like southern France, where it's nice and pretty, like close to the Spanish border in the Pyrenees Mountains. So like down below. And it's one of my favorite wines because it's done half in carbonic, which is like this particular process of making wine that makes the grapes a little bit more fruity and juicy, but it's done half traditional, so I feel like it's literally like a halfway point.
Okay.
And I think something like this is great for those drinkers who are used to a more fruity wine. Oh, so besides Zinfandel, also like lighter reds like Gamay. Beaujolais is made in this style.
Yes.
So it gives you like that juiciness, that fruitiness, and I think it's really easy for people to wrap their heads around. Like that balance of bitter and
definitely boasting with red fruit off the bat. Strawberries and like jammy strawberries.
Yeah, like it literally smells like candied fruit.
Yeah, for sure.
Like fruit snacks.
These are natural rums, right? What is natural wine? What does that mean? Because I'm hearing that a lot more when I'm going out, and it seems like it's now a trend to drink natural wine, and it's maybe better for us to drink natural wine.
Well, that's up for debate, but like a lot of things, right? We're starting to put a lot more thought into just what we're putting in our mouths and putting it into our bodies. So like, you know, people are going to the specialty grocery store or like buying organic, and this is no different. Natural wine does not have a specific definition, but the way that I've always defined it is wines that are farmed sustainably, organically, or biodynamically, and that have little added and little removed. And one thing, because there's no labels on our wine bottles, one thing that people don't know about wine is that there are hundreds of additives that can be put in the wine to make it taste the way that it does. And then there are
Can you name a few of those additives, maybe? Like sugar, I guess.
Sugar. There are like literal acid tablets that people use to balance out their wine. There's literally people like all of the oaky wine you have does not come from it being in an oak barrel. There are wood chips that people soak in their wine to give you that woody flavor.
They filter it.
Yeah, or like drops of like wood flavored wood flavoring, right? And the scary part about all of that is they don't have to label it anywhere. So
So how do I know that the bottle I'm getting is organic? Is there like a seal that's like, this is official?
So in the United States, they do have some organic certifiers, but they're expensive. So I don't fault any winemaker for not going to get organically certified. Also, being organic doesn't, like, just because a wine is made with organic grapes doesn't mean, especially when it says made with organic grapes, it doesn't mean that they're not also still putting
stuff into the barrel.
Yep. So organic speaks to the farming, and there's a whole wine making process after you do the farming. So I think that's another thing I didn't realize until like there's everything that influences the wine that happens on the vineyard, and then once you pick those grapes and you press them, there's a whole other process, right? And often it's not even done by the same person, right? Like these people
are buying.
This is the winemaker.
Now they can do what they want.
And that's what happens. So like a lot of those big brands will buy bulk juice, or they have these huge vineyards, and then they like, for consistency's sake, will just, you know, add a little bit of this, throw a little bit of that. Let's take that out of there because people want
the same thing out of every bottle.
They want the same thing every time,
which is not what wine does at all. Like,
no, it's
every
a wild
year is different.
Product.
Every year is different. The sun is different every year.
Exactly.
How much sunlight they're getting.
Like your crop is not going to be the same way every year, and if it is, there's one.
Talking about the farm and like the terroir, and it makes me wonder, being that this space doesn't really have that much representation for people of color, how many like black vineyards are there? How many black owned farms or that produce?
So I know of a few. So there's Krista Scruggs. She's amazing.
Crystal.
She's been popping and coming up over the past few years.
Yes.
But there's also people who've been in this game for years, like Mac McDonald out in I think he's in Oregon. Sorry, Matt. And there's not a ton of us, like just keeping it real. But people of color have always been involved in the winemaking process. Like the people who pick grapes in California are most likely brown folks, you know, like even on this coast, like my great grandfather used to make fruit wine down in Alabama. So it's like, fermentation has always been a thing that we've done, and just like farming. I mean, black people's farms are getting taken every day, so I don't have a number on that.
Right.
But we are agricultural people.
I mean, I think when we were down at Resistance Surf last year, that was one of the biggest things that really hit me, is that they took people for that specific reason.
Yeah, like, oh, you're a farmer.
Yeah, I need you to
like literally
get on this ship.
That's how we got here, is because
I'm putting you on the ship. Not even get on the ship. I'm putting you on this ship, and that's what we're gonna do. But yeah,
because you can farm, and I know that you are from an oyster farming region, so like I'm gonna bring you to.
I know that you distill, so you are here. And you're
exactly,
doing this. And that was such a big thing. And just like you said, I think it's important that we need to start finding those brown people that are farming, because they're doing it generation after generation after generation, and we don't ever get to see those names. Or I think I was at a wine class. Sorry, but I was at a wine class once at Dirty Habit. I can't remember exactly the wine, but the person that was presenting was showing us who the families were that were. Never named them though. Just like, oh, this is the farmer. They do this, and they've been doing this since I was a little girl. And I'm like, we need to be talking to these people that are doing this, and that's how.
And I feel I don't want to speak to like a specific number, because I really don't know, and I feel like there are people who might have farms and sell their grapes, but there are a few in the States, and I know there's more internationally. Like South America, they farm the hell out of some grapes. So
you brought up the movie Som earlier.
Yes,
and I think that movie definitely made people feel like there are right and wrong answers to what smells and tastes you get out of wine, which makes, I think, the wine world a little bit unaccessible, you would think,
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
pretentious.
The wine world is pretentious, right? It's this luxury item, and the way that we test for it is very Euro-normative, right? Like, we're basing this all on some old white dude's palates, and they made the rules, and they're telling you, like, it's not like a matter of like knowledge, it's a matter of, can you taste boysenberries in this glass?
I've never even had a boysenberry.
Exactly, like they don't grow boysenberries in Jersey, so and like I've been able to train myself. There's taste kits and all of that, and I think that's fine. But also, what would it look like if we kind of broke those rules and we expanded on them?
There's power in it. That's like a voice, like, right? You're heard, your perspective.
Yeah.
You have to get to know who I am and what I've tasted in my life. It reminds me of.
It's so personal, like I was saying
to you
earlier.
might be like my grandmother's blueberry pie or something. You know what I mean?
So there's this one thing that I always smell in wine. It always smells like black women's hair salons, right? Like there's a wine note, and I don't know what they call that, but like, if I were going to blind taste a wine, like that would be an instant call for, I can't even remember.
The like hair heating up, kind of like.
Yeah, like that like burnt hair, but like kind of like floral from the flowers. Like, that is like an instant tell for me, like, oh, this is from X place. Yeah. Or it could be, if I could remember where the wine was from. But it's like, oh, all wines from this region have that note. They weren't going to write that in their books. You know what I mean? So I feel like, just like a lot of other spaces need to be decolonized. This space specifically is just so. Yeah. It's just so.
It's that. Exactly.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's that feeling, just that. Just like,
it's so specific. It's like we have a lot of work to do. Even with just the way that we talk about wine, and like, nothing against people who go and test and go through those processes. I think it's a really cool trick to know, but I think that's not the only way that we should be measuring people's knowledge and
I mean, but if you take that away, sorry, pour me some more white because it's delicious.
But speaking of like just like having a voice in the space of wine and decolonization, I've met some great people who aren't like of color, but are, I guess, allies and such, and they're seeking out ways. How can they be a proper ally to us, people of color, marginalized communities, to be part of wine?
Hire people of color, give them opportunities. Give them the opportunity to be the GM. give them money, pay them well, and give them opportunities, pay them for their labor. I think it's great that there's all of these scholarships popping up to teach people about wine. Fixing that, there's already Black women who know about wine. Yeah. We don't need I don't think that we need programs to teach us about wine. I can understand what's going on if I go to a WSET class. I can understand, everything that's happening in the court. I've always had to learn how to speak their language. But what happens when I have knowledge? Ashton Berry has her WSET 3, and where's her opportunity to run a wine program? I mean, you have to create those opportunities, but you have to let us let us have those positions of power. And if you are a person who
just opening that door
power,
wider and wider,
giving people actual opportunity to show off what they've got. Like, I have tons of friends who work, who are certified or WSET 3, which is like their advanced, and have their knowledge together, but there's not enough opportunity for us to work and get paid well for that knowledge. And I think that's where it starts.
And I think also for people on the entry level coming in, having patience to teach them, and having the patience to understand that they're not the same level that you're at, and wanting to go through that process of teaching, not just, I gave you a job, and then now you gave me a job, and now everything I do is wrong.
It goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it's huge.
Wine is a huge topic, right? It encompasses geography and science and everything. World languages and all of it. So, I mean, it is a huge topic, and there's continual education that needs to happen. That's it. But I think education is only half of the issue that we're seeing with being people of color in the industry. And I think the bigger thing is that once I have the education and I'm showing that I'm willing and committed to do the work to be good at my job, I also need to be paid to do that work. So it's I think we focus on the education a lot, and I know a lot of people who go out and get the education, but they're still working their job. Right now, I'm working in graphic design because there was no money. So I just think that's something really important to talk about in our world.
So what do you see yourself in wine today?
Well, I am getting ready. We're revving up to do some more education. That's definitely something I want to get back into. I've been taking a little break because I was burnt out, to be honest.
Yeah. And that's never okay. It's never fun.
Look, I had to get back to feeling good and feeling confident in what I was doing, because I was like, I'm not making money. Is that because I'm bad? Well, imposter syndrome. That was a lie. So I think what I'm working towards is bringing these experiences to people, bringing wine experiences to people, bringing wine education to people in a fun way.
Yes.
But also just creating space for us to just truly enjoy it. I just want you to be able to sit down and enjoy this thing casually without it being an academic exercise. It's great to have these intellectual conversations about juice, but also can we just drink it and have a good time?
Right.
So that's definitely what I'm looking forward to doing the next few months.
Awesome.
Dope.
Yes. Well, cheers to you coming in. Cheers to education, getting back to yourself, reflecting, and all those good things. And thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We out.